We had just finished touring Canada, America, where people are throwing their T-shirts on stage before we even got on stage. Then we come to Germany and we did our show in Charlie M and everyone was like,
oh my gosh.
I get the goosebumps. I remember coming off stage into the dressing room and crying. And I thought, that's it. I'm stopping. I'm finished. I'm not going to sing anymore. I'm going home. And I'll never forget, and it was God sent, our agent, Armin Ron at the time. He was a big tour agent. Armin took us together and he said, girls, forget America. Forget your shows in the States. This is Germany. Germans don't show emotions like Americans do. They'll love you, but they won't show it.
Howdy und servus, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of The Pod Abroad. My name is Paulina de los Santos, and on this podcast, I share insights about my life as an American who has been living here in Munich, Germany, the last nearly 10 years. And I also have several conversations with immigrant friends based here in Munich, and where they get to share their own personal story, journey, cultural differences, and all of the sort. So if any of that interests you, then feel free to follow along, and thank you so much for being here. Today, I am so very excited. I am joined by the one and only Linda Jo Rizzo, an incredible artist. You may know some of her songs like You're My First, You're My Last from 1985, Heart Flash, and Perfect Love as well, or even Passion. But today we're going to really focus on the incredible life that you have built between the US and Germany, growing up in New York City to a Sicilian American family, and being here now over 40 years and really, being an artist. I think that's such a unique thing from the typical German career path. So thank you so much for being here today, Linda. And if you could please give yourself a little brief intro to anyone listening in.
Thank you. And I say hello to all the listeners and watchers of this Pod Abroad. I love it. Great to be here.
Wonderful. Could you give them a little bit of an intro from your perspective, who you are and what brought you to Germany?
Well, it's now been 41 years that I live here in Germany. I'm an artist, composer, producer, lyricist, and I came here actually on tour and decided to stay because my career just blossomed. And now it's 41 years. I never imagined it would be that long.
Incredible. And what brings someone from New York City to building a career within Europe?
I was on tour, as I said, here in 1984, and I was planning to just stay 2 weeks and then go back. The 2 weeks turned into 5 months, and then I had an opportunity. I had an offer from a producer and a record company here, and I would say I really didn't know, but I just imagined that it could have been maybe easier than in the States. America's, of course, number one in the music world, but the competition and the amount of fantastic people is tremendous. So I thought, okay, I always wanted to live in Europe. I was always attracted to Europe. So I thought, why not? I have nothing to lose. I'm going to take a chance. And I did.
Yeah.
And those 5 months, 2 weeks became 5 months, 5 months became 41 years.
Yeah, a whole lifetime, right?
Yeah, amazing.
I think that's a very common story between immigrants that we never expected to be here this long.
No.
Right? It kind of just so happens to be.
I think with a lot of Americans, they did not plan on staying.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody makes their suitcase and say, I'm moving to Germany.
And staying forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would always tell my friends, like when friends back home would say like, hey, when are you moving back? I'd say, I'm here indefinitely. Which was a formal way of saying like, I have no clue.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm here indefinitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to kind of bring it back to your first experience and interaction with Germans and ask you, was that in New York City or here when you were in Germany?
Here, absolutely. I think I met one German person, a friend of my parents, when I was living in New York. So the language, the land, I mean, everything was totally new for me.
Yeah.
Totally.
What were the first impressions back then? Do you still recall?
Uh, okay, you mentioned I come from an Italian family, Sicilian
Yeah.
American. So I grew up very Italian, and we, of course, have a totally different dynamic in the family, very close and very loud and very full of energy and all.
Yeah.
And my first impression here was, of course, oh my God, Germany's so conservative. I mean, I
Yeah.
landed in Munich. Our agent was in Munich. So Bavaria, after traveling all of Germany, I can say Bavaria is probably one of the more conservative areas.
Yeah.
And it was culture shock. It still is, I have to say.
It
But
still is,
yeah,
guys. It
totally,
still
totally
is.
different. Totally
Yeah.
different than what I was used to. So very rigid and quiet and orderly. I mean, I'm a very organized person myself and disciplined, but it's something personal. But when you have a whole society like that, it's weird. Totally weird.
I can imagine. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, as an American living here as well. But to hear you say that you still have culture shock to this day, tells me that you haven't lost like the core of who you are as an American.
Absolutely not.
It's still a part of you.
I'm a New Yorker and I'm an
Yeah.
Italian American and I love it.
Yeah. And I love the proud label of like being a New Yorker.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not just simply American.
No, New Yorker.
I love it. That's why I also say I'm a Texan as well. We have a lot of pride too.
Yeah, we're very strong states and cities,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Absolutely. Very different, but both very, very strong and like
Very.
rooted in pride for
Exactly.
sure. Being that you're from the city, like the epicenter of lights and action, how did you first perceive life in Germany, especially given that, you were in the creative field here?
How did I perceive it? I did not know what to expect. I'm a person. It's part of my character. When I set a goal, I will go through brick walls, and I was like, a horse puts on blinders. I wanted success. When I set a goal, I have to reach it, and then maybe I'll go to a new goal. But I have to fulfill that. Otherwise, I just go crazy. It's just my personality. I've done it several times in my life. But music was the one thing I then stayed with. And I saw the opportunity here. I mean, 1985, when I moved here, Munich was full of clubs and live, music scenes and concerts. There were a lot of music shows on television. Music was very, very much alive. I mean, my God, Giorgio Moroder came out of here, and Queen used to record, and Rolling Stones, and
crazy.
anyone who was anybody was in Munich. It was a pulsating city. It had life and energy. And that's what interested me. I was like, okay, let's do it,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, how you describe it sounds so different than kind of what it has maybe become today.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
A little bit more quiet and like reserved versus
Yes,
Berlin.
absolutely. Which is so strange because normally as time goes by, things open up more.
Yeah.
But Munich sort of, I don't know, it got very much conservative over the years. Very strange.
Yeah.
I like to go back to the 80s.
Yeah, we got to bring it back.
I love it.
People can also see that you have some shows, right? You have some live
I still
events.
tour.
Yes. So Linda is still touring. You guys can check out her website as well. I'll link it down below if you want some of the 80s action and to get that energy and kind of relive it as well.
It's so
today.
funny. In 2012, the 80s came back.
Did it?
And we all thought, okay, it'll be a couple of years and then the 90s will take over and then we'll be back.
Yeah.
But it's just gotten stronger and stronger. And I'm touring. I mean, I'm all over the world with my shows with my colleagues, and we're all older. I mean, if you had a hit in the 80s, you're definitely way over 30. So, but it's fantastic. I think the 80s music it's back and so important today because it was very melodic. The lyrics were positive. They were happy. When you heard the music, you automatically started moving. You wanted to dance. So different than what's out there today. And it was real music.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don't get me
Not
started
with
with the
AI
AI music, AI artists.
Oh God, I know. It's like, no, give me a real guitar or piano or voice,
I know.
Yeah.
Looking back at some of your music videos, I'm just like, I can feel it. Like seeing how you dance, like it's just like you're one with the music, and it kind of makes me miss a time that I never was part of. But I think I can definitely say, like, I mean, I'm 31, and our generation, like my generation, like probably doesn't go out as much as yours did, which is sad,
Yeah.
right? It's really sad. I mean, like with the rise of like, yeah, I mean, we meet partners online and friends online sometimes too. Like I
Very
think,
strange.
yeah, it is. It is like instead of like really like losing the art of just meeting face to face, and like going out, all of those
So true. So
things,
different.
right?
I see so often in social media, Facebook, because
Yeah.
I'm stronger in Facebook because that's the 80s fans. We're all,
Uh-huh.
like I said, we're all older. But, they'll show a picture of a cafe from 1985, and you've got 4 people sitting at the table and everybody's talking and drinking coffee. Then they show 2026, and you have 4 people sitting at the table like this. And I'm thinking, there's no conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's just cell phones.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to a cafe. I can drink coffee at home and talk to you on the phone.
Yeah.
It's
It's
whole
sad.
social thing has changed. And I think COVID was, we say, the cherry on the cake.
Yeah.
That really separated people from this social circle. It's
Absolutely.
that's, again, something we had back in the 80s and 90s here, that it brought people together. You socialized.
Absolutely.
I
I go back to think that like my grandparents, for example, met at a dance hall. Like what? During their
know.
time. They just met at a dance
Now
hall.
you meet online. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I know. It's
I'd be
changed a lot.
scared.
And now I think it's like the act of socializing is like a skill one has to work hard at versus it maybe being more natural years prior.
So true.
Just a whole other topic. I wanted to ask you, in all of your years now being here, and like you said, kind of unexpectedly building this life here, did you ever consider moving back to the US?
Yes. There were several times that I wanted to go back home.
Yeah.
I missed it. I missed my family and all. But it was my father who always said, stay where you are. He understood, strangely enough, he understood the whole system here. I was a single mother, so the support, the kindergeld, and having free nursery especially for single parents, having this priority, etc. And here you have the social medicine, medical system, etc. And he said, Linda, what you have in Germany will cost you, before you even earn a dime, probably about $2,000 a month in New York.
Yeah.
Okay. So he said, don't you stay. It was him. It was my dad who said, you stay where you are because you've got it great. You don't realize it. And he was right. Good thing I listened to my dad.
Yeah.
No, he was right. He was right. There's a lot of support here, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
You don't realize it when you're young. You don't think about these things. You think when you're older, you look back and it's like, oh, wow, I don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
Raising 3 kids with music, I don't know. I had a guardian angel somewhere up there.
Yeah.
But I'm very thankful. And yes, if I were in the States, it would have been hard. Totally.
I was raised by a single mother, and I truly believe like
Also-
single moms rule the world.
Yeah.
Like truly. Like you guys are so incredibly strong. And to go through all of that like with a non-conventional career path is something that takes guts.
Yeah.
For sure. Tenacity.
Yeah, you have to put the blinders on and just go forward.
Absolutely. And believe in yourself.
Yeah.
At what point did Munich start feeling like home to you? Was there a specific moment, or did it just come to be?
It took a long time for me to actually say, I'm going home.
Those words.
I had an apartment or I had a house. I mean, I had a place to live, but it wasn't home. And okay, today, after 41 years, it is my home, but it's always a second home. New York's always my home.
I love that. You can have 2 homes.
Yeah,
In
it's
life.
like
It's not one or the other.
I live here, but New York's my hometown. And yeah, it's almost transit. I mean, I know when I ever retire, the artists never retire. We just keep on singing till we fall off the stage. But I'd like to retire probably go south to Italy, because Italy's always been in my heart, because I grew up, with the Italian family, and I love the traditions, I love the closeness, I love the food, good Lord. And that's where I'd like to be. But I mean, Munich will always be in my heart because it gave me the opportunity here. And like I said, I'm very thankful, and it's amazing what I've done. And how my life grew, and all the kids are doing fine. And I'm just so happy it all worked out. Again, looking back, I don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
I could never do it today.
Yeah.
Like you said, the times have changed so much. But it'll always be a place for me that I lived, that I built my career. But home like New York,
nothing else like it.
There's nothing like New York. New York is really, I don't think there's a city in the world like New York City.
Yeah.
It just, like they say, it's a city that never sleeps.
Yeah.
Just pulsates 24/7.
Yeah. I can't imagine what it's like being born and raised there. Yeah. Just a whole other experience versus also people moving there and trying to make it. But really being born into it and like raised in that environment, it's just something so unique.
It is.
For sure. I want to now transition into more a bit on identity, and ask you that when you were first starting out here with your music career, was being American a strength to you?
Definitely. Definitely.
How so?
Again, this American thinking and this New York thinking, we're fighters. We're achievers. We are used to rolling up our sleeves and going through the dirt. You get nothing for free in America. You get nothing given to you without working for it. At least my generation, we grew up with those principles. You start from zero, you set your goals, and you work towards them. So that's what I did here in Munich. I was like, I'm going to make it. I want to be on stage. And I just fought for it. And of course, with the kids, I had to take on a lot of music jobs that I today, thank God, can say, no, thank you. But you got to pay the bills. I had to pay an au pair,
Yeah.
I had to take care of everything. So you just do it. I don't know. I think, again, part of it's American, but also you've got that extra strength being a New Yorker.
Absolutely. The grit.
Totally. We're fighters.
Yeah.
We're winners.
Were you ever, or were you always unapologetically American, or was there ever a point where you kind of wanted to fit in a bit?
No. I was proud. No.
I love that. Yeah. Your authentic
self. How do you
self.
fit in?
Yeah. Especially when you're trying to differentiate yourself and be an artist. And
I mean,
your name out.
As an artist, you're different anyway. You're not normal.
Yeah.
It's, what's your real job? You're a singer? Yeah, but what's your real job?
Yeah, you've been asked that.
Yeah. Back in the 80s, 90s, like when I was dealing with banks or something, I would say, well, what's your profession? Oh, I'm a singer. Yeah, well, what do you really do? Oh, what's your real job? That's my real job. And people would look at me like,
Such a culture difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas maybe in New York City, they'd be like, okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of arts in New York.
Yep.
You've got Broadway.
Yep.
You've got musicians, music schools, music academies. So maybe it's easier, but here it's, and plus the system in Germany is it's again, conservative. It's, going to school, get a degree, get a job, work 30 years, retire, pay your taxes, and everything's lovely. And if you are independent, self-employed in the arts, you are different. You don't fit into that mold. And it's not very German.
Yeah.
It's different. You have to have courage to be outside that mold.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you have to work harder than someone in the mold to make it here.
Absolutely. Being your own
it's
boss,
the system.
setting your own hours, and the hours aren't Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Exactly.
It's like you're wherever you need to be at
different.
any given moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. After all of these years here, do you still feel American?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, I'm American, but I'm Italian American.
Yep.
Because to me, somebody totally American would be, generations of Midwest, somewhere in Oklahoma, like, how y'all doing?
Yeah.
That's American. No, I'm Italian American.
Yeah.
They didn't really know what that was in Germany. Like in America, I'm Italian. In Germany, I'm American.
Mm.
In Italy, I'm Italian American. It's so weird.
Absolutely.
They don't understand what that is. But for us in New York, it's a very strong thing, this cultural thing, because New Yorkers are they all came from somewhere else.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not generations of Americans.
Absolutely.
They didn't stay in New York. New York was the open door to America.
Yep.
So yeah, I sometimes have to sort of explain what's Italian American.
I love that that's part of your identity still and like core to who you are. And I can definitely relate because I consider myself like Tex-Mex, a Latina. And when I came to Germany, they're just like, oh no, you're American.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm Tex-Mex. Like that's who I am.
It's an American thing, I think.
Exactly. And like that's like who's part of me, part of my identity. And like Germans were just like, oh. But like you're American.
They can't put two and two together.
No, like, and it's we're not like a blank slate of like just the same diaspora in the U.S.
Exactly.
Absolutely. One thing that we were speaking about earlier that I found very interesting was you mentioning identity-wise that when you were performing like in the 80s in Europe, that you think that for Germans particularly, that you were giving them an experience that they weren't used to in being that you were American. Like they were excited to kind of experience that.
Temperament and what's the other word? Temperamento. There's another word. I forget sometimes things in English. Emotion and temperament is not a trait known or recognized in the German culture. It's a more conservative. They learn it already in kindergarten. I know that from my children. Whereas especially Italians or Latinos, we are loud, we're chaotic, we're crazy, but we grow up in a society where we show our emotions.
Oh yeah.
And our temperament, it's okay. And I think the American artists that came to Germany all did pretty well because in our shows and our concerts, we have that emotion that the Germans don't have.
Yeah.
And also, we really put out that energy on stage. I mean, I know, German artists are very contained in their presentation, their beauty, their makeup, their hair, their clothes.
Put together.
It's all totally together. American women are different. Like we'll go on stage, we'll sweat, our mascara will be running down, the hair will be falling. Yeah. It's like, we don't care. We are in our music, we are giving energy and emotion to the people. And you see it in their faces. You see in the German audience, they're like, they're smiling and they're happy and their eyes light up. And to me, that's success. I like to see people happy. That's what I put out when I'm on stage. And the more fun they have, the more fun I have. And the less you think about your mascara or your hair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So definitely, I have to share this experience with you.
Please do.
When we came in '84 with the Flirts, our first show in Germany was Charlie M. in Nuremberg, 1984. And we had just finished touring Canada, America, where people are throwing their T-shirts on stage before we even got on stage. We're used to screaming and yelling, a lot of gay clubs because our music was very big in the gay scene.
I love it.
Beautiful. Then we come to Germany and we did our show in Charlie M and everyone was like,
oh my gosh.
I get the goosebumps. I remember coming off stage into the dressing room and crying. And I thought, that's it. I'm stopping. I'm finished. I'm not going to sing anymore. I'm going home. And I'll never forget, and it was God sent, our agent, Armin Ron at the time. He was a big tour agent. Armin took us together and he said, girls, forget America. Forget your shows in the States. This is Germany. Germans don't show emotions like Americans do. They'll love you, but they won't show it. He said, go on stage and do your show. Sing for you. give everything you've got and they'll love you. And those words saved me.
Wow.
Those words saved me. And he was 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you weren't hated.
No.
It was their...
They just couldn't show their emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
but
my
it was like,
gosh.
for us, shock.
Of course, trying to understand
my
a
God.
whole new
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You don't like me.
Just crazy, right? A little sterile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very.
As like a concert goer, I found like that, yeah, a lot of the crowds here, it's really hard. Like as an American being like in a fully German crowd, yeah, for example, I've been to Coldplay and I was there in the crowd, like dancing, like, and people seemed really bothered around me. They're like, oh, like kind of
Control
scoffing. Yeah, kind of scoffing. I'm like, I paid €120 for
I'm
this
gonna
ticket.
dance.
I'm going to be dancing.
Exactly.
I'm going to be having a ball. I'm sorry if you're not. It's just, it is a little odd as an American, like being in the crowd,
Yeah.
like trying to, yeah, have my own vibe and people just kind of being a little off put by it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just
Totally.
a whole new culture as well. I wanted to ask, did you ever question your path? And if not, or if so, like what gave you the confidence to continue during times of uncertainty?
I never questioned my path because singing was my last dream. I had different dreams in my
Yeah.
life, you know.
Speak
I
about that.
modeled,
Yeah.
I studied nutrition, which is what I wanted to do. I opened up a music restaurant. I had that for 8 years. I had different dreams, and there was nothing after music. And I remember, I think it was maybe around the time of COVID where the music business suffered tremendously. I had sort of I don't want to say depression because I don't fall into depressions, but I had this period where I felt a little lost because the music business was threatened by the pandemic and I had no other goal. I always had a goal in my life.
This was it. Yeah.
And I had, after music, that was my last dream. And it was like, oh my God, if this doesn't go forward after the pandemic, what am I going to do? And like, I was sort of lost for several months thinking, where am I going? I did everything I wanted to.
Yeah.
I was happy. I was fulfilled. I was, we say, I arrived. Sono arrivata. I was there. I didn't have anything for afterwards. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was a very strange time. But I still don't, I still don't have a goal for after that. I mean, at my age now, it's like, what kind of goals you want to set? To be somewhere, when I don't go on stage anymore and just enjoy life.
Yeah.
I when I think of retiring, which Italy would be my dream, I always thought I'd love to do something, because I love to be around people, something like an Airbnb or a B&B.
Yeah.
Just something small, like a little pension where
Yeah.
I have music once a month to do like a jazz brunch or a blues brunch
Yeah.
or concerts, just to bring people together because I love people.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine just doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I have too much energy.
That's so special. I love it.
But I know I want that in Italy, but I don't know where yet. I don't know where I want to be. My family says Sicily because that's
your
my
roots.
grandparents. It would be, an honor for the family. But the only thing that scares me about Sicily is in the summer, it's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's 48 degrees centigrade,
No.
it's not nice when you're over 70.
It's not a way to live. Yeah.
So it would probably be something a little bit more to the north. So I'm in contact still with Munich. But that would be something I do for fun
Yeah.
in my retirement.
Yeah.
I
love it.
just
But
to
still
keep
bringing
people around me and music around me,
Absolutely. Was there ever a specific point in your career that you felt that like, wow, I've made it?
For many years, no. Again, in the pandemic, where we had a lot of time to think and reflect on our lives, I always, up to the pandemic, always felt I didn't make it yet. Because we always want to go, again, it's our
More.
character, it's our
Wanting
thing,
more,
where we
right?
are. We always want to go further. I mean, I'll never be Madonna, but I'd like to be something more than just someone who sings on the corner bar. So I always felt more. I have to do more. I have to make more and blah, 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 blah. And in the pandemic, I had a lot of time to reflect, to go into myself. And one thing, again, I always get goosebumps when I say something real, I realized that most artists, it's in us. Most artists or self-employed people, we always look at what we did not achieve yet. And what I did was I stopped and looked backwards at what I had achieved. And my whole thinking process turned around. And I thought to myself, damn, I went from 0 to where I am today. I raised my kids on music, paid all my bills, took care of my pension or whatever. I'm comfortable. I'm not rich, but I'm comfortable. I have everything I need. So, Linda, you're not Madonna, but you're a hell of a lot better off than most of the other musicians that you know. And that's where my thinking changed. And I'm like, I started being thankful for where I am, for how far I've come.
Attitude of gratitude.
Totally. And that brought me like an inner peace that I never had.
I love that you say that. And I asked the question because I have a few creative friends here in Munich that are managing YouTube channels or doing graphic design, whatever it may be. And they have shared with me that sometimes they never feel like they've made it. Like when they're doing incredible things, they're reaching these milestones and they're always like, they're never satisfied. And they kind of fear like that feeling of always wanting more. But I like what you said, that it's so important, right? To see how far we've come. We may not be where we want to be, but when we look back, like that can't be neglected, right?
You have to find the balance.
Yeah.
Because yes, look back, see how far you've come and be thankful. But, don't give up trying. I mean, always take that extra step.
Yes.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know what's behind the next door.
Yeah. Absolutely. I want to transition now into a little segment of your life as a performer and ask, first off, do you think you were born with stage presence?
Born to be wild? No.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I remember when I was maybe 5, 6, 7 years, I remember being really young and watching the old black and white movies from Hollywood. I loved Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. I always wanted to dance with Fred Astaire, but I didn't realize when I was older he was going to be gone. But I always wanted to be on stage. I didn't see singer or model, but I didn't know what.
Yes.
I just knew I wanted to be in the spotlights. I didn't want a normal life. Getting married, having kids, dog, a car in the garage, and working 9 to 5, sitting behind it. I wanted to travel. I wanted to live in Europe. I wanted to learn languages. I wanted to do my thing. I didn't know what. I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I just knew I did not want to be normal. That's how
Intrinsic feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I always swam against the tides. I was always rebellious. If everybody went left, I had to go right.
I love it. Yeah. And
Always.
that kind of led you there. How do you personally own the room or the stage? Like, do you have any tips for what helps you feel you're most confident?
Specific tips? No. I mean, I suffer stage fright even to this day.
Really?
I die.
Really?
Oof.
As a viewer, like I would never imagine.
I think if I try to analyze it, I think it's the fear of acceptance. It only lasts about 10 seconds. The minute you go out on stage, the minute I see the first smile on somebody's face, it's gone.
Yeah.
But it's before. My worst fears were, I did 14 years, I was a star guest at the Hippodrome in Oktoberfest. my first show would be on Saturday, and on Wednesday, I would get into a cold sweat, heart palpitations.
Really?
I'd run to the bathroom several times.
Wow.
It was horrible. And again, 10 seconds on stage was gone.
Wow.
But you're responsible for getting 4,000 people to stand up and boogie with you.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I think the nerves show that you're human and that like it means a lot to you. Like then you have put a lot of pressure on yourself, I'm sure, because you hold yourself
totally.
to a high standard.
Totally.
Right?
And again, you know, it's a German crowd. Munich is extremely hard to win over.
Yeah.
And I was deathly afraid. But people in the business have said Barbara Streisand is the same way. She's been on stage like 100 years.
Yeah.
She's still, she loves the studio, but she's fears being live. And I love live more than the studio because I need that energy,
To
the
bounce
lights
off
and
of.
the applause. I need that pulsation, you know. But people have said to me, when you stop feeling that, it's time to retire. It's time to stop. Yeah.
Ooh.
That adrenaline kick,
Yeah.
it brings good luck. So I guess it's okay.
It means you still feel something. Yeah.
But I never, there's no secret. I put my show together, my songs, how I feel. I'll always ask questions about the audience. What's their age? What's this? You know,
Yeah.
how's the town? Different things. And I don't have a set program. I change things. And I just go out there and have fun. I think that's the main secret. Have fun.
Yeah.
Get into what you're doing and have fun and make people smile, make people happy. And you did your job.
I love that. The have fun is so important, right?
Yeah.
Like not everything has to be so serious and strict.
No.
Right?
No,
Life
no.
is about, playing with it up there and like exciting everyone with you.
Yeah.
So you've been on stage over 40 years now. Could you share one of your most epic performances that meant something to you? Is there anything that particularly stands out?
I can't say one specific. The most tantalizing shows were, of course, where there were 10,000 plus audiences. That is, wow. I think my largest audience was 15,000 in Saarbrücken. Mexico, we had 10,000. It's just, again, multiply those lights, the applause, and the energy by thousands. You walk out on the stage, of course, you mostly can't see anything because the lights are so bright,
Yeah.
but you're in another dimension and you're just floating. You're just somewhere else. And that's like ecstasy. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's harder to sing for 50 people than 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's more intimate, right?
Yes.
Seeing
It's more
everyone's
scary.
like face to face, really.
Yeah,
like,
being, like-
instead of it just being a sea of
Exactly.
people.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's scary.
I want to transition now into a bit of the creative side of your process.
Okay.
And mention that you just released an album a year ago. So congrats on that, Long Rocky Road. And that I read that it's a collection of songs written over a 30-year span. How beautiful that you were able to release this with a bit of a pop rock country touch as well. Can you give us a bit of an insight in your creative process behind it over the years?
Okay, I started writing lyrics in 85, my first producer here. And I've been writing ever since. I do most of my lyrics, or I co-write, and I've written for other people. There are a few things where I was part of the music, like Long Rocky Road, but unfortunately, I learned piano as a kid, but never continued because I didn't know I was going to work in the music business. But I can compose in my mind. I need a musician to put that either on a piano or on a guitar or something. So I fell into this disco music of the 80s, which later was named by my record house Italo Disco because it was born in Milan and Bergamo. It came out of Italy. My record company brought it to Germany in the 80s, mostly bought out the record companies in Italy, and it's now called Italo Disco. So disco was not the music I would have seen myself in. I love pop rock. I mean, Bryan Adams, Tina Turner, Phil Collins, Bon Jovi. That's the music I listen to. But I made my name in this music. And once you have your name in the Italo Disco scene, you do not get out of it.
Yeah.
If I make a song that's
you.
different, people's like, well, that's lovely, but it's not Italo Disco. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I started writing lyrics and melodies back in the 90s. And that was Long Rocky Road. It just came to me that it was like pop rock with a country feeling. And this was going on for 30 years, and I never found anybody to put the music. And one day I did a show in Munich, and the brother-in-law of Peter Kent, who did "It's a Real Good Feeling," I don't know if you remember that. No. Okay. I think it was also 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
His brother-in-law is a sweetheart. And after the show, we were at the bar, and he asked me, could you write English lyrics for me? And I said, of course. A few minutes go by, and then I turned to him, I said, can you put music to lyrics? And he said, yes.
Amazing.
I sent him lyrics. If I tell you, in 24 hours, I had 2 songs.
Wow.
I called him up. I literally had tears in my eyes because he did it so perfectly.
Wow.
So we wound up doing an album together. It's totally different than the music that I sell, because my fans are these 80s fans.
Yeah.
It's all over the world. But the artists, the fans of the 80s music, this Italo Disco music, they're very true to what they love. So once you have success in this kind of music, you don't come away from it. So what I produce today are, of course, new songs, newly written, but they always have that 80s retro sound. So I saved this Long Rocky Road, and I asked my record house permission, could I release it digitally? Because it's in my heart. I want to release this. And they did. And everybody loved it. Because it was a side of Linda Jo Rizzo that nobody knew,
Yeah.
And I performed it live for the first time in Denmark in May. Fans of mine who run a radio station there of 80s music, they wanted to do a country western weekend.
Ooh.
And they said, Linda, would you sing it? I said, well, okay, I never did,
Fun.
And so that was a very new experience. But I had to do it with playback, which means my music was on a USB stick, chorus, and I sang live. But that kind of music, Long Rocky Road, I need a live band. But it's a different expense.
Yeah.
You musicians and travel and the whole thing. So it was a new experience. It was nice, but it wasn't as fulfilling as if I would have done it with a live band.
Yeah.
But I did it.
Yeah.
It was just a dream of mine. I just wanted to do it just for fun.
And how did it feel?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Everybody loved it. I mean, I got only compliments because no one ever heard my voice in anything other than dance music. And dance music, your voice is not as important. It's the beat and the movement, the melody and all. So, yeah.
What inspires your writing?
For that or just in general?
No, in general. Over the years, or how has it evolved?
My first producer was German. So if you really look at the English texts of the German hits in the disco scene in the 80s, bad, bad English. And I'm like, hey, I'm an American, I'm a New Yorker. So he gave me the opportunity to write. So like my first song was already, the text had already existed. And after that, he said, can you write lyrics? I said, well, gee, I never did. I mean, I was always good in school, like in English. I was always an A student. I loved creative writing and things like that. So I started and never stopped.
Wow.
And then other people came to me also to write. So
yeah. How beautiful. I want to kind of wrap up now and with a little bit of reflection and share with you. I also said earlier, I think Germany is typically looked upon as a place where people have a very, very clear and predictable career path. And what advice would you have to anyone listening who is considering an unconventional one?
Goodness. Yeah. You mean basically in the music business or
Yeah,
just
music, arts.
self-employed?
Yeah, self-employed.
In the artistic world, I have to be very honest. Musicians, singers, artists starting today do not have the opportunities we had 40 years ago because on every corner there was a club. You had a lot more television shows. You had a lot more concerts. Munich, as I said before, was alive. You could work. You were gigging constantly. I mean, we were gone every weekend on a stage. Those places are gone. You had a big middle area. You had your hobby musicians working for 100 German marks or something. Then you had your superstars filling up the halls and the stadiums. And this middle area, which were not the superstars, but we were stars, we lived very well. We worked a lot. That's all gone. Or it's shrunk like, mini.
A big part of the industry.
So anybody starting in any self-employed artistic thing today, make sure that you have a job, education, that you have something to fall back on while you dedicate yourself to moving ahead in your career, because otherwise you're going to suffer financially. And financial difficulties are not good if you're trying to be creative. Money problems and relationship problems are the worst thing for a creative person. You need a free mind to be creative. Believe me, I know that one. So, yeah, you need a backup plan. You need plan B.
Absolutely.
We didn't. We had fortune. And we mentioned it before when we were chatting. If you're in the arts, make sure that you, at an early age, back yourself up with Kunstsozialkasse here so that you've got some pension when you retire. Yeah. Make sure you have yourself in GEMA registered and GVL and all of these societies that take care of artists. Make sure you get in at the ground level when it's inexpensive. Make sure you inform yourself of all the things you need to give you support in your career, because one day you'll look back and be thankful that you did. Otherwise, you get to be 60 or 65 and it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do now?
Absolutely.
Today, also with the internet world and social media and all, there's so much more that an artist has to do on their own. I work freelance with my record company since 8 years now. I've been with them as an artist since 85. And I handle the social media for the Italo Disco people because I speak the language, I speak Italian, and they're all my colleagues. And years ago, you signed with a record company and they put thousands of, marks or euros into videos and into this and into promoters. It doesn't happen like that anymore because most of your business is digital and you need millions of clicks to earn a few bucks.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that they do ask the artists, you must be active in social media. You got to be out there. You have to promote yourself. Don't think that someone's going to make you a star.
Yeah.
That was true 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It's over.
Yeah.
You need to be proactive.
Absolutely.
Work with your agent or with your manager or with your record company. Work hard, put on your blinders, go forward, and think positive, and you will make it.
Absolutely.
You'll make it.
I love those words. And I'm also a firm believer that we create our own luck.
Absolutely.
We create our own luck. Like, luck isn't necessarily something that's 100% random, but really like putting yourself out there, like you said, like doing this promotion, putting yourself in the right rooms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, putting that energy out, being open and willing to receive.
And you'll attract.
Absolutely.
Positive attracts positive.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wanted to now finish off in asking, what does this next season of life look like for you?
Season?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm still doing my concerts. I'm still producing, writing. I don't think that will ever stop as long as I'm booked or asked for or popular. I will just keep giving, just keep doing. And at a certain point in life, you hope for good health, which I try to do my best. I go to the gym 3 days a week. I eat healthy. I eliminated all negativities out of my life, try to keep the positive people and things in my life. That's all you can really do, and just go forward. And I don't know when the cut will be where I'll say, okay, now stop. I'm going to really retire. I don't know. I don't know if artists ever really retire. How do you stop doing something you love?
Wow.
It's different when you're employed and you work 9 to 5. And most people oh God, I can't wait till I retire. And what do you do when you retire? You sit on the couch and watch television.
Yeah. Freak out because you're like, I don't know what I enjoy.
Yeah. And then you get a heart attack and you get all these things start going on because you've been holding this stress back for years. We love what we're doing, and there's no age. You don't grow old. You grow with. You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful. Yeah.
So I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I just, as the Germans say, it gets me a good. I'm happy. I'm fulfilled, and I just take life as it comes and just hope I have a few more good years and that I'm healthy.
Absolutely.
That my mind and my body works with me. That's the only thing I can hope for.
Absolutely. Linda, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your story. It's been such a pleasure, getting to hear about that. And I'm so inspired by you and your tenacity for life and following the unconventional path.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's me.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you have reached the end of this episode, you all, thank you so much for listening in. Please feel free to leave a comment below. I will leave Linda's website in the description. And until next week, thanks a lot.
Bye.
The Pod Abroad's video, audio, and music is produced and edited by Tim Tehune. Make sure to give us a follow and leave a comment if you like this episode.